That hood bump. You boy. Oh my God, that hauls so fast. Oh, I'm making my truck all dusty.
It's fun, I like it, but I kind of want I can't have this and something else. I already got a couple Volkswagens. I'm maxed out, so.
Ah, dang! This is old girl. Yeah! Clear.
We'll work on the crew cab today. Let's see how good my memory is. I need a turbo return line. I thought there was one in the back of this truck because we're going to switch turbos today. Is it in here? Is it not? Let's find out. Good morning, folks. Got up early this morning. I'm trying to tackle a turbo swap. Put it this way, I'm not happy with this turbo. I messed with the wastegate. Yeah, we're getting more boost, but we're still not getting low end boost. I do definitely think the wastegate's closed, but at the end of the day, we're not getting any good drivable early on boost out of this whatsoever. Past 2,500 RPM, it starts to shine. It'll hit 40 PSI. I tried to do some research on this AFE turbo. It did have a full kit with it. Maybe it requires some bigger sticks to really power this thing up, but it's not working out for me. I'm not liking it really at all. The donor truck did have a huge intercooler. With that little guy, we're still pushing 40 PSI boost through it, so we're having fun. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna put a stock one on it. This is the one off of my grandma's truck. It was a good working turbo. I'm gonna oil it up before I put it in there. Got a boost reference line. I did have another boost reference line, but it referred to being bent, so that one's junk now. I just need to get the exhaust elbow. I got to run down to the boneyard and hopefully I caught one, didn't throw them all away. Didn't think I was going back to stock stuff, you know. The back half of this turbo it's just too big to get lit. It just won't wake up and do its job. So I'm gonna snatch this thing off, put that stock one back in there because it's still got a stock manifold, and see if we get some. Can't find my Milwaukee little guy. That's the wrong size. Yeah, get out there, V-band. There's some definite bad feedback when it comes to having the wrong turbo size for your application. You'll have premature high EGT temperatures. Exhaust gas temperatures. Let me see temperatures twice. Come on, Philip. So you'll have the temperatures of your exhaust are going to be through the roof right from the start. It's very hard to recover from that unless you shut down. Now, if you're in a race application and you're only running flat ground for seconds at a time, no one cares. But in the real world, you're pulling hills. This is a truck. Technically, you're going to be pulling trailers on occasion, which, you know, normal people. So you want these temperatures to be cool all the time. Don't have to be battling that. So we're going to get this thing addressed. See if I can get these downpipe bolts broke free. Not with this one. That's a big pipe in the way, right? I find him. He's on the ground over there. Very, very surprised at how easy those came out. So, easy telltale sign working with the diesel finding exhaust leaks is black smoke. So if you don't got black smoke chooching out spots. Now looky here. We got a broken exhaust, but the only spot that it was leaking was right there on the crack. Everywhere else has got a nice good seal. I doubt that little tiny bit was making the difference. Part of me thought just leaving this turbo on, put new gasket, but now we'll get rid of this junk. I'm gonna battle this, yeah, because it was a complete unit. The more you know. Now, hopefully I got one of those upstairs. Step into my workbench real quick here. A couple things we're gonna tackle before we put this turbo in. Gotta get rid of this silencer unit. Turbo feels very good. I hope. Got it, Boone. Got it, Boone. Where you been, Boone? Been down here working all morning without your butt. Okay, now we're gonna mess with the boost a little bit. What I'm doing here is just gonna tighten down the wastegate. I backed off the rod and it freed it up. So it acted like it was at the end of its stroke. It was bottomed out, but that would entail somebody else messing with this, and it was on a stock truck. Figure that out. We have more to go, but that's good enough. Can't stand an air hose that's just sitting there leaking at me. So, when you get boost applied to it, this is going to go all the way over to the injection pump, and it's going to be pulling pressure off the manifold, and the boost reference is going back to the wastegate over here, so it's got to do a big old loop. We're going to choke that down at the injection pump also. And then this right here, once it hits pressure high enough, it'll open this up. But the farther it's got to push this, the longer it's going to take to open up that pressure. You get me? Little setbacks that you never plan on, but I mean, it'll get straightened out. Yeah, perfect. We're in the money. Let's go ahead and get the grain hooked up. Pointed in the wrong direction. I thought somebody messed with that. Yeah, always something. That seemed like it was pointed the wrong way. Oh, a couple years back, I found this 97 12 valve on Marketplace. You wanted, I'm gonna say $5 grand, 5,500, something like that. Needed a turbo. So I figured, oh, we got some wiggle room and need some parts. I go down there, I don't know if it was a gimmick or what, but his neighbor was there saying, hey, if this guy doesn't buy it for the 5,500, I'll go ahead and buy it from you. And I said, all right, must be a nice truck. Haven't even looked at it yet. Just meeting him at his gate. I go look at the truck and I'm thinking, man, not nearly as nice as I was hoping for it. Didn't come with the toolbox that was in the photo and stuff like that. You know, just small things that weren't disclosed. No big deal. But ended up making a deal on the truck because the neighbor backed out of the deal. And part of which, I didn't pay the asking price. Actually paid less, and an incentive to pay the even less price, which was still kind of high, was he gave me a complete other parts truck. That's where we got the elbow from, right here, was off the parts truck from that deal. But when we were down there, I just brought the turbo like we just swapped out right now. And come think of it, that's probably where the turbo from my 96 went. I was wondering a second ago when I was down at the boneyard, whatever happened to that turbo? Well, anyway, the whole point of that whole story is we were down there, and you can't get a full-size box end wrench on these to break them loose. What you got to do is you got to grind down one side of the box so that you can fit it in there. This is that wrench from 2014, still in the toolbox. It's just a forged, drop forged steel, nothing fancy. Just something I had in my little go bag. And we just swapped out the turbo there. The turbo drain, we doubled the gaskets, and honestly, we got lucky we didn't break something. Hurt that engine on the way home because it was leaking oil all the way home. Not ideal. Not ideal, gentlemen. So this is the boost reference line that comes off of the injection pump. This is what was on the truck when I bought it. They had put a bolt right here, so I took this all the way off because it's a nipple, and I put a plug in it, trying to eliminate any possible boost leaks. You might ask, why am I taking the other side off? I'll show you. Bolts in there real 14. How would you do that to me? There we go, breaker free. That was definitely not subject to boost leak, but if you're going to put a bolt in there, don't use a piece that's threaded all the way. Use something that's got a shoulder. Okay. The nipple from the factory one. Big old hole. Boost reference line right there. All the reference you can possibly get, no interference. Aftermarket, so it takes longer for the pressure to get over there to open the wastegate. We're gonna put that in there. Why? Because we want more freaking boost. These trucks have so much potential right from the kick with minor to no modifications. It's just the small things in life. That's what your wife told you anyway. Let's put that on there, make sure she's nice, clever, taper tight right there, and put it on. Just a hunch that this is the right size for the plug because it's still got the Teflon on it when I put the plug in. Ah, I told you. I told you. On putting the boost reference line on it, and I dumped some oil in here, so it's pre-lubing the old turbo. I don't think it needed it, but better safe than sorry. Okay, let's see how goofy it is. Put the air cleaner on. I got a fuel leak, that's why it's popping. We're pumping air somewhere when it sits for a little bit, which is very annoying. Typically it is loses pressure on the return guy right here, but I put a new one of those on. Could just be a factory line giving me trouble down somewhere. Before I take off, let's look at this turbo.
Somebody hacksawed that off. Cut it angle and still got a lip. Let's see if I can. Doesn't have that big of an exhaust wheel, but the housing is just massive. I'm trying to get that thing to fly. Okay, this hill going out drive here, the truck will pull it and forth, but I don't like it. It's bogging it down big time. So that's our gauge. Much better. Holy jeez. So much better. That turbo is just not good for this at all. We're easily pulling it in fourth gear. Look at this. It's hard to see the boost. We're at 10 right now at 1500. There's 20. We got a corner coming up. Old truck, you know, we gotta go easy on it. That's how it'd be right there, but I had no boost. Then watch this. There's 20. There's, oh shit, there's 45. Yeah, we turned that wastegate up just in the right amount. We got it. Yes. It wasn't a boost leak. It wasn't anything. I mean, there was boost leaks, but holy jeez. We are very, very happy. I'm gonna put the camera down so I can enjoy driving the truck a little bit because we got some boost now, boys. That is awesome. Make sure we're not leaking the world. Burning off that spillage. That air cleaner wasn't holding us back. Well, I'm sure it is a little bit, but not to the level of not getting boost. It was literally that turbo was the wrong one. This is ridiculous how much different the truck is. 2,000 RPM, 20 PSI to 40. These trucks got way more power, or this engine does. This truck never really had power. Maybe at the 440, you know. Anyway, once it gets over 30 psi, the standard wastegate hits around 30, 33, somewhere in there. Depends on how hard you're digging on it. But hitting 35 and holding, oh my gosh, way better. Then 40, I saw 45 out of this thing, which is asking a lot out of a little stock turbo, but pulling a grate back there with my foot in it, it held right at 30, which is nice. So we didn't go too aggressive on the waist, and we got plenty of power when we really want to. Oh yeah, it's all around 2,000 RPM. I couldn't get that unless I was at 2,500 or plus. So much better. We fixed it. We're good. Just over the engineered and over turboed it before. That's why the donor truck was such a dog. It wasn't so much of the boost leak, just turbo didn't want to spool. It's been a couple of days since I put that turbo on, and ambient temp right now is mid 90s, easy. And even the engine temp on this thing is staying respectively low. I'm just driving it daily style, so nothing romping. But before, it would go right to thermostat and try and break it. Just a little bit heavy every time on the temperature, and it's doing great right now. It makes me have a lot more confidence in the truck. Poor thing was just getting ragged out. All fuel, no boost, and that does not work. Who knew going back to stock turbo was going to give us some power? It's going to give us some drivability, the whole nine. We got 10 PSI at like 1,800. You couldn't get that before out of that big turbo. We can go give her a little bit, 20, 40 PSI at 1,900 RPM. That's what we like. Good drivable truck. Very happy. Let's go back to the house.
Well, folks, I tell you what, sometimes you just go with your gut and it'll point you in the right direction. But I'm glad I went through the process of elimination and checked all the boxes before we ultimately landed on what was the true culprit. Was a snail. The snail was too big, at least on the back half. But we did check for all the boost leaks, got all those addressed. There was a couple big issues on boost leaks, but now we got boost. Doesn't appear to be leaking, and most importantly, we can pull that hill empty in fourth gear, which it should do, pulling a trailer with at least another truck on it in fourth gear. It's not that big of a hill, but it kind of is. So the snail was too big, got rid of that, put the stock one on there. We're able to run over 40 PSI, shall we need to. Don't really need to on a stock turbo, but it's there in case we got to pass, you know, anything. Oh, man, who would have thought? Now, I did try to do some research and find this turbo and the kit that was on the truck, because it had a big intercooler from AFE. It had a nice intake, cold air intake, which I actually do have several cold air intakes from AFE on some of my other trucks. That's Advanced Flow Engineering. And I tell you what, she might have been flowing, but too much, just blowing by the exhaust on this thing and not able to spool the dang turbo. But I couldn't actually find this turbo with a 12-valve kit. This, honestly, as big as the back housing is, it looked like it was something for a common rail. Arguably, could throw this thing on a 6.7 with a second gen swap, maybe. And 6.7, that displacement, that goes a long ways. Plus 6.7 in any common rail, they really lean on the RPM. Compared to an old dinosaur tractor engine. But we got boost, very happy. A couple things left to address on the truck, but at the end of the day, I can actually drive this thing with a little bit more confidence, because there is nothing more frustrating than a straight piped Cummins pulling a hill with no boost. Fourth gear just couldn't do it. It was just droning and being obnoxious, and I'm not afraid of that kind of noise, but it gets a little repetitive, especially when it's not doing anything good for you besides making everything go hotter. So now that we got the boost under control, it should also keep our engine temps cooler, because we're actually having a functional, you know, air to fuel ratio, and it's burning rather than just steaming, cooking inside there and producing high exhaust temperatures, which produce high engine temperatures. So correct turbo, we're happy campers. I'm not going to put a compound kit on this because I just want to be able to drive this truck. That's all there is to it. So, air condition next. Thank you guys for watching. Anybody that commented some ideas before, I really appreciate that. But the original gut feeling was the dang turbo was too big. See you guys in the next one. Like this video so other people, maybe with the same issue, they'll know. Don't be afraid to swap out the turbo. I got another truck I need to swap a turbo on. See you guys. Later.